We're going to hit them very hard tonight. We're going to hit them very hard tomorrow night. We're going to hit them very hard the night after. We're beating them up really badly. They have to be beat up.
All right, there's Trey Ying sitting down with the president just yesterday, and that beating has started, and the first time we have daytime strikes up until now. It's only been at nighttime, and also along the Persian Gulf, there's a town here called Bampur. It's right around this area where you see this red dot. Is about 120 miles off the Gulf of Oman. There's an army barracks there that's been hit. Reportedly 7 troops killed on behalf of the Iranians, about 250 at a minimum were wounded. So also in the same area, this is where the blockade had been initiated for about a month and a half's time, and that's been put back into place yet again. Already we're hearing from CENTCOM that 2 commercial vessels have been rerouted since this began as of 4 o'clock local time yesterday. I want to bring in Dan Hoffman right now. Try and figure out what's happening now. There was another area hit, Dan, if I could. It's hard to pinpoint here. It's a tiny little island. It's called Tum. T-U-N-B, and that was struck as well. Remember, the Iranians consider these islands to be their own aircraft carriers. They sit in the Persian Gulf. They can be manned with military equipment. That was a target also. Do you believe this changes the course of anything right now, Dan?
Well, I think these are important tactical military successes. But Iran right now considers this battle over the Strait of Hormuz to be the center of gravity in their war against the United States. And I would just draw everyone's attention to the Iran-Iraq war in the 1980s, resulted in 8 years of fighting, over 1 million killed, and just a massive amount of destruction of Iran. And they've got a very high threshold for the pain that they're willing to inflict on their own citizens. This hardline regime, IRGC regime, has shown no indication that they're willing to negotiate. What they want to do is to continue to take on the United States. So I think tactical military strikes are certainly part of the answer. There are probably other things we might be thinking about doing, perhaps non-belligerent nations escorting ships through the Strait of Hormuz, perhaps even decapitation strikes. I think the president is listening very carefully to his intelligence community for reflections on the impact of these strikes and considering other options to try to induce Iran to change their behavior.
In the afternoon, Axios reported yesterday they went inside the Situation Room. Don't know what came of that. Maybe we'll learn a little more today when the president is in Pennsylvania with a lot of members of his staff and military staff there. Meanwhile, back to this interview that Trey had yesterday. There are nuclear sites that have been targets on behalf of the Israelis and the Americans. One is called Pickaxe Mountain. I don't know how significant it is today, but here was the question and the answer that came yesterday.
Weapons experts say that the United States doesn't have the ability to strike deep enough with these bunker buster bombs at Pickaxe Mountain.
They can go deep. We have good stuff. Nobody knows about Pickaxe. By the way, nobody knows if they even are doing anything in Pickaxe. It's just something that comes up. We have cameras on it. There's very little activity there. But if there's even just a small amount, we'll hit it, and we'll hit it hard.
Okay, I want you to answer that. And also, I was listening to your first answer, and that matches up with what the Institute of Study of War is saying right now about Iran. Here we go. Iran retains the ability and willingness to attack commercial shipping despite recent U.S. strikes on Iran. The threshold, you used that word, Dan, the threshold for Iran to be able to disrupt shipping in the Strait remains low, however. Can you interpret all of that? Pickaxe and what ISW is saying.
Yeah, so first of all, Iran can continue to use their asymmetric capabilities to disrupt the Strait of Hormuz, traffic through the Strait. They're launching drones from deep inside their own territory, and that's a challenge for us to find those locations from where they're launching. As for Pickaxe Mountain, look, the Trump administration gave Iran every opportunity to negotiate a deal on Iran's nuclear weapons, their ballistic missiles, their support to proxy terrorists, and Iran has rejected those offers. There were significant opportunities for Iran to grow economically and build out their economy, but they chose not to do that. If they don't want to do that, that leaves us no other option than to continue to strike Iran's weapons of mass destruction. That's their nuclear sites and their ballistic missile sites, the drone sites, and continue to take the fight to their proxy terrorists. We've seen what Israel has done to Hamas and Hezbollah, and I would expect all of that to continue if we don't get to the place where we can have negotiations with Iran, and right now we're not there.
Okay, Dan, thank you. Dan Hoffman, we'll talk real soon, okay? This is an active story ongoing as we speak at this hour. Thank you, Dan. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.